Welcome to the shack. The shack, it started off as a blank canvas, so now's when the fun really begins. So the seasons have changed since the last episode. The shack has sat idle for a few months during lockdown, but now it's time to get it back into action. So right now, this is what I call the pretty side of things. It's when it starts to transform from a build site to a space that looks good, or should I say, looks pretty. So there are two parts. There is the pretty stage of building, and then there is the pretty stage of styling. Right now, this is the pretty stage of building. You can see how the original vision and concept has come to life. It's also when the tradies have come and done all the hard work, and it's pretty much now when I come in and I get to steal their thunder. The facade with the Cemento cladding sheets, it's now been painted and starting to look pretty. I chose Dulux Natural White as it works really well with the surf mist that's on the ColourBond roof. So I thought about painting these doors a colour, and I probably will down the track once we finalise all the details for the Maybe Forever home. So I continued the same colour from outside, inside, and you can see it on the gyprock plasterboard walls and ceiling. So in here, I've gone for an all white theme, so it was really important that it wasn't too stark. Dulux Natural White, it has just the right amount of warmth in it. The raw engineered oak flooring has also been painted white. Call me crazy, putting white floors in a room at the end of my backyard with 4 boys, but hey, you only live once, right? So these floors have been painted with a lamb's wool applicator, and what it does, it allows the grain and the texture to show through, and that achieves that not so precious finish. The ABI tapware has been installed, and I chose the brushed nickel finish. It works really well with these tiles that I have left over from the Paws project. And you might notice there's no basin in this bathroom. It's a little bit quirky, I know, but that's kind of how the shack is in general. So the kitchen sink out here is going to act as the basin. Now, I just want you to take a moment to notice how I've mixed up all the different finishes. So with the kitchen sink mixer, we've got the brushed nickel, and then it's paired with the brass feature light and the concrete sink. So many people think that everything has to match, and it just doesn't. How cute is our kitchenette? The boys built it out of plywood sheeting and then finished it off with the timber trims. It was good for the 50K budget, and we just simply didn't need a full kitchen out here. I had one splurge though with the kitchen, and it was the Stone Ambassadors bench top. So they have a stone to suit any budget or style. But most importantly, this stone has been created with lifestyle in mind. I chose the Fatina stone. It has this two-tone textured finish in it. I just really love how the stone has brought this kitchen to life. When it comes to door hardware, pretty probably doesn't come to mind, but it really should. Your door hardware can change the whole look of a space. So here, I've used just a plain standard door because it was good for the budget, and then I've paired it with the Baltimore lever from Ivar. I wanted the door hardware to be a feature, so I chose the signature brass finish to get it to really sing. One of the last things to be installed in the pretty stage of the build works is the split system air conditioning from Bingley. The aircon is going to be a game changer down here, as it's going to allow us to use this space all year round. And then, once we work out who and how the shack will actually be used, it will be pure gold. So it's pretty much time to wrap up this stage of works. There's still a few things left to do, like the shower screen and the front deck, but let's just say, when your hubby's the builder and it's your own house, your job does not take priority. And let me just touch on the budget. I'm yet to crunch the final numbers, but it's pretty much around that 40K mark, give or take a little bit. So now's when the fun really begins. The tradies have well and truly left, and this is what I call the pretty side of things with styling. So the shack, it started off as a blank canvas, or should I say a white canvas. So it's now when I get to inject some style, some personality, and that important holiday feeling that I'm always banging on about. So using my 70-20-10 styling rule, I describe the shack as 70% organic, 20% rustic, and then a final 10% layer of that Mediterranean vibe to bring it all together. So I want this space to make me feel good, I want it to be fun, and I want it to be a place that I want to be in. So when it came to styling the shack, it was important to keep it really multi-purpose. We're still not sure what we're exactly going to use the space for. So the first thing on the list was furniture. Keeping the budget in mind, I didn't want to sacrifice though on the style and the comfort. So I turned to Lounge Lovers. They have furniture and homewares that suits pretty much any style home. So I wanted a sofa that guests can sleep on, as well as the older kids for when my boys have their mates over. So a sofa bed was the perfect option. I've chosen this Cove sofa bed with the right hand shapes. It literally fits this space like a glove. It's super comfy and easy to set up as a sofa bed. You'll also notice the fabric, it's called sand. So it's not a white, it's more like a beige. So you can see there's an actual flex through the fabric. It's good for hiding marks, and with 4 boys, it's inevitable that's gonna happen. So I've added this Tassie rattan coffee table. The round shape, it works really well with this space, adds a bit of movement. It's lightweight, so it's really easy to move when we set this up as a sofa bed. The jute rug, it's also from Lounge Lovers. I needed something hardy with my boys, but I also wanted something that contrasted with the white floors. So I've created this little nook in the corner. The Maya occasional chair, it really sets the tone. The generous size of the chair, it just encourages you to put your feet up with a good book. Now it comes with these standard white cushions, but my mum hack is to get them covered in an outdoor fabric, because then you can simply just wipe them clean. So I only wanted to use furniture pieces down here in the shack that had a purpose. I don't want to clutter up the space. So this little table and stools, it's going to be perfect for when guests stay over the night, but it's also going to be really good for myself when I come down here to do a bit of work to escape the main house. And then you'll see this rattan cupboard behind me. It literally looks like it was made for this space. I've actually had it for quite a few years. It's had a makeover with some white paint, and it literally is the feature of this space. It's also really practical because that's where I'm going to store all the guest bedding. So now's a good time for me to introduce you to another one of my styling rules. It's what I call the 3P test. I use it every time I go to source or purchase an item for styling. So it literally has to tick these 3 boxes. Number 1, it needs to be practical. Number 2, it needs to be pretty. And number 3 needs to be the right price point. So let me talk you through this with the appliances that I've selected from Bing Lee. So I've got the Smeg fridge, kettle and toaster. So number 1, they're practical. The fridge for drinks, the kettle for making a cuppa, and the toaster for guests when they stay over the night. Then if we think about them being pretty, so these appliances have like a real cool retro vibe, and as they're left out on display, they form part of the styling. And then number 3 is price point. So I haven't blown the budget with these appliances, but then on the other side of things, they've also kind of lifted the quality of the space. So that is what I call the 3P test. So let me talk you through again with coffee table books. They're one of my favorite pieces to style with. So you've got a book. Number 1, it's practical. You know, we're going to read it, we're going to be inspired by it. 2, it's pretty. So I like to use books that have the colors and the feeling that I'm trying to inject into a space. And then number 3, price point. These are so affordable to style with. So next time you're struggling to make a decision or you're overwhelmed with styling, put my 3P rule to the test. I love to use greenery to bring a space to life. I also want to prove to my family that I can keep these plants alive. So with greenery comes pots. So I'm a long-term customer of the Balcony Garden. They have a variety of handmade pots in different styles, sizes and colours. And it's probably no surprise that I've stuck with the white pots inside, but you'll notice how I've used a variety of shapes and sizes to add a bit of interest. And all the pots inside, they're lightweight, so it made it really easy for getting them down here. Outside, that was a completely different story. Ben and my boys, they had fun getting the pot down here. It weighs 65 kilos. So I wanted a statement pot that would really sing against the white facade, and this handmade clay pot from Thailand has done exactly that. So with the general styling of the shack, I didn't want to overdo it. I've added some prints on the walls to add a pop of colour. I've used cushions and throws to add texture. I wish you could feel how soft this alpaca throw is from Cedar and Lily. So I've used a lot of pieces in here that I already had, and I've only purchased items that I needed, like the toiletries from Ina and the glassware and tableware from Ecology. Let's just talk about the TV for a moment. Ben had one item to source, and it was the TV. Let's just say he thought bigger is better, and that is truly not the case. So luckily my friends at Bingley allowed me to overrule him on that. So he had a 75-inch TV, which is no longer, and I've replaced it with the Samsung Frame TV here. And in my opinion, this is the most stylish TV on the market. So that's it for all things styling of the shack. I could leave it here with the pretty pictures for you to be inspired by, but instead, I'm really passionate about educating you on all things renovating. And I know that you actually want to find out, did we pull this off for our 50K budget? So tune in to the final episode, the educational side of things.